Afternoon. How are we all doing? I'm a bit late today. Rushing around doing stuff. How are we all doing? Afternoon, Kennelly, Crum, JC, Peter, Danny, Ian, Fletch, Gregors, David. Having such a bad morning. Seems like my MQL5 is all messed up. Charts are not acting right today. Don't know. I'm not having a problem, so it must be your end. Don't know what that is. Hopefully it rectifies itself. Kind of important charts. Afternoon, Martin, Alastair, Figinia, Mark, Evil. Right. It's going down. I'm having a nightmare with this morning. I got out the DAX way too early. I basically got fed up with it after, I don't know, 4.5 hours of it doing absolutely nothing. And then just after I get out, it goes, straight down to target. So I got out of that, banked a little bit of profit. And then I thought, I'll do the same on the FTSE. And obviously the FTSE's dropped. So I've just taken kind of my equivalent of an aggressive drawdown control position just to see if I can squeeze out of this FTSE on the New York Open. So I've got a stop loss placed below this propulsion gap. So what I'm looking for is a reaction off of this level, which it is doing at the moment on the hourly, just to see if I can get a bounce off of here big enough just to get me out of this break even, basically, because that's not worked today. But if not, it's going to be a loss. So I'm not going to re-hedge it. I'm just going to get out, and it's going to be a loss. But so I'll keep an eye on that. Other than that, banked a few bits and bobs today. That pound yen came down very nicely. It's just starting to push back up again, so a little bit of weakness on that yen. Not massively. This is a bit of weakness, but hopefully it's just a pullback. So we'll see what happens on that. That euro odd. Do I want to get out of that? It's not far away from target, is it? What is it? Might as well get out of that. Bank the euro odd. Just puts 0.3 in the bank. Gets half of that drawdown control position back from yesterday. But yeah, so nothing much happening on there. ADR reversals banked 1.2%. Everything else is just waiting to play out. And hedging banked 0.3%. Again, waiting for stuff to move. And move it has not today. Sideways day again. News-wise, we've had the retail sales this morning, massive negative for the pound, big pound drop today. The retail sales were also down for Canada. So if you look at the CAD, it's had a bit of a downward movement, but obviously looking at the yen's weak as well. So if you look at something like the Aussie dollar CAD, you can see it's not really had a massive impact, that Canadian dollar news. It hasn't weakened the Canadian dollar particularly at all. In fact, it's virtually no movement at all. So we've got a few ADRs, but not really any movement today off of the news events, apart from the pound, which obviously dropped quite nicely. But only mobiles, just reading your comment, Brian. Only single ADRs, nothing bigger than that. So, yeah, not particularly amazing. But yeah. So we've got University of Michigan at 3. Market's just about to open. Big drop. Look at this coming down before the open. This might be a tricky one today. Fair bit of movement on the US indices. So we've got Michigan in half an hour. But we have already had a fairly decent Globex session, decent rallies across the board. There wasn't much else news-wise this morning, so not quite sure why they're buying up the indices quite so much, all the stocks this morning, but they are. So we'll see where we go at the open. We have 10 seconds to go, so we'll watch the open. See if we get anything on. Yeah, all good. Okay, not triggered into anything yet. Potentially forming a 3-bar reversal on the Dow. Not an awful lot of movement there, is there? Afternoon novelty, meh. Peter, congrats to who had the balls to hold the DAX. Yep, well done. Not me. Short all three. Afternoon, Mumo. It's mobile again, running late. I'm mobile again, running late. All right, okay. Looks like I'm stopping out on this FTSE. The US indices are dropping, so I'd imagine the rest of them will drop, but that's going to ruin my month. Shouldn't have got out of this. I got distracted, unfortunately. Got into this trade and it started to push up. I had a delivery come. I had to go and get the delivery. I got chatting to the bloke driving, came back up and we were sitting down here. And I was like, oh, this looks like it's pushing back up again. And then I went and made a cup of coffee. By the time I came back, it was down here. So yeah, my fault totally for this. And it's not going to be a good morning. So hopefully the US indices collapse and I can draw $600 or $700 out of the US. That would make my day. So downside targets on all of these today, if we are breaking short, so certainly trying to, aren't we? We'll be looking at yesterday's high, which is basically the close of yesterday, which is basically where we opened today for the NASDAQ. So we're looking to come back and retest today's open, yesterday's close. That is also my TP to the downside on the NAS today. The Dow, we're kind of at yesterday's high already. So failing that, the previous day's high is there. And we've got that high from yesterday in Globex, which either of those levels could act as support on the way down. That's ADR today as well. So I'd be much more interested in that high, which is the close of the previous day, to the downside if it drops, that is. And S&P, very much the same sort of thing. We are at, we have literally tapped to the pip into yesterday's low, which they are buying up at the moment. So they are buying up these yesterday's lows on the Dow and the S&P. So let's see if the buyers at those levels have got enough oomph today. Hold this up. Still surviving on that. Another triple hedge would just make the week, wouldn't it? Very, very, very hard week this week. Lots of whippy action, lots of sideways movement, and then just taking off for no reason whenever it fancies. Hopefully we're not going to hang around for Michigan this afternoon, but has been known. Getting into lots of trades, but not banking anything. My trade manager says if targets get hit, I'd be up 15%. Be nice. Do you know what, AZ? If you went away now and came back next week, I'm pretty sure most of those targets would be hit. The only thing that stops us from hitting those targets is us. Afternoon, Monkey. I come in threes. Oh, it comes in threes. Well, if it comes in threes, then if I stop out on the FTSE, in theory, one of these should be a profit, shouldn't it? Because I'm trading 4. Afternoon, James. That would be good. Okay, S&P's having a go at yesterday's low again. So there's your 5-minute opening ranges in. So not bad ranges at the open. So if we can break this initial move, we should be off. I stopped out the FTSE. Not a good day. And that's wiped out the entire month. Back to break even for the month. On the DAX, that's a massive loss, 4%. Not good. Right, we need these indices to absolutely collapse. We want that University of Michigan number this afternoon to come out at 79. And the US dollar to go through the roof and the stock indices to drop 200 ADR. That's the plan. See if we can act that out. Come on. So it's a big sell-off on the Dow. So Dow is testing yesterday's high again. Same with the S&P. So if we break that yesterday's high, these limit orders are triggering at the highs, market wanting to rally it. If we can break those levels and get a decent pop out the lows there, we should be off. Struggling though, getting bought up all the time. Just give it another couple of minutes and then we'll look at the FX markets. I want to see that little pop and flush down. There we go. There's a bit of a pop there. We can get a follow through. I think we need a 25 tonner on that. Struggling. I got a feeling we're not going anywhere for half hour. Just sitting around these lows at the moment. So we'll see what happens, but got a funny feeling we're going to sit there and rotate until 3 o'clock until the Michigan numbers come out. So 3 o'clock, University of Michigan and the home sales. Once that's out the way, there's no more news this afternoon. We've got nothing really this morning that's been of any impact whatsoever. So we'll see where we go, but we are struggling to get down at the moment. Feels like it wants to go, but just can't actually go, can it? Struggling a bit. Right, so ADRs today. Let's have a quick look through the FX. So Aussie dollar Swiss, that started to roll over nicely. So we got an ADR hit to the upside on that one. Entry was this morning on the 5-minute time frame. There. So that was your first reversal alert this morning, which went in there. We then pushed up and validated that high. Second entry there. So the first and the second entry this morning weren't far apart. There's your uneven M pattern. Short. So on this one, we've had a very weak Swiss franc now for 3 days. It's not very clear on the Aussie dollar Swiss, but we had a very weak day on Tuesday as well as Wednesday, and obviously, Wednesday as well as Thursday, and obviously today it's pushed up again. So looking for a decent pullback on this one. If you stick a fib on this and look for sort of a 38 to 50% retracement on the move, that's really where we should be targeting. There's no propulsion gaps here. There's a tiny, tiny, tiny little one at 125 ADR, but that's it. Apart from that, there's not really any decent levels for propulsion targets to the downside at all. So that's your 50% and 38 retracements. That's ADR today. So US dollar Swiss 125 is weekly. That US dollar's pushing, which is good. So we have broken down through yesterday's low on both. So looking good for a drop. Even if we pull back a little bit now, gives us a bit of breathing room, doesn't it, before the Michigan numbers come in. So Aussie dollar Swiss, somewhere around ADR to the downside should be achievable if we're going to pull back nicely on that leg. So I'm just going to target that. But that propulsion gap, 125 ADR, is 50% retracement. So somewhere around there for that shot. I'll be in this one. I won't be in this one short on the ADR account because it's not 125. Oh, I'm already in it, actually, from earlier on in the week. So yes, that's coming down nicely. I need to adjust targets on this. So I'm going to do the same target to the downside on this account. There. Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar. So we've hit ADR on this. Look at the price action on this thing. Absolute mess. So we pushed up this morning. And look at these little tiny little candles, massive wicks, market just flip-flopping around, not a clue where it's going. Just had a bull move gone in, which has hit the highs, and they've just rejected that. So if we break down through this today, we've got a very good chance of coming and retesting that level. So that's a nice ADR reversal. 5-minute reversal, you've probably had quite a few opportunities to get into shorts on that today. First one would have been there at ADR. Actually, the first one would have been there. That would have been your first entry. Your second entry was the same spot. Your third entry was just ever so slightly higher. So kind of stuck, starting to break down nicely now. So that's a good, nice reversal short. Target to the downside on that one. Same thing. You've got a couple of areas you want to watch out for. Might get a little bounce there, but more likely we're going to push down into this accumulation. But there's a couple of areas we could get bounces at, but looks like a good short opportunity there. Euro pound. So I got out of this on one of the other accounts this morning. I think it was the ADR. Yeah. So this was an ADR reversal from Wednesday. First entry there, second entry on that second ADR push that we had yesterday. So ADR on this one is only 30. That push there was 37. So second entry was taken yesterday on the reversal alert ADR, but that was obviously because it's a scaling. It was 20 pips. So got out of that one nicely. I was holding it until there, but just wanted to bank some money, basically, some more money. So got out of that euro pound long. So that one's already played out. That's an ADR hit to the upside now, because obviously it was an ADR hit to the downside. So if you wanted to take the short and assume that we're going to continue market structure, you're looking to break that low and take profit somewhere down the lows there. We got pound odd. That's an ADR hit to the downside. Again, same thing. This was an ADR hit to the upside. So that would be your exit on your shorts if you want to flip long. Perfect time. That is assuming that the pound's going up. Don't think it is after those retail figures, to be honest. And I don't think that was an actual move, which is why I had the TP back at the origin of that move, because it did make sense. So out of that one, now pushing up, looking for a push out of that propulsion gap to go south. But we're pulling back on the retail figures at the moment. So the retail figures have obviously collapsed the pound today. So looking for a pullback and then continuation short. So this reversal, looking for that to hold and just continue market structure down from there. Pound yen. So yeah, pound yen we know about. I'm in this for quite a few positions now. Aggressive drawdown control position gone in. The second attempt at it. The first attempt failed yesterday. This is the second one. So this is now break even, my aggressive drawdown control. The reason I've pushed it to break even because we've hit ADR. So we hit ADR. I've protected that position. Can't lose that aggressive. Hopefully we will retest and drop out of that propulsion gap. We're pushing back out of this propulsion gap. So we've got this push, accumulation, break, accumulation, break. So this is the move there. They bought again, and they've bought again today. If these guys have got more than these guys, market structure is going to shift short, and we're going to come back down and test this area. So it's basically down to these guys to hold this level and drive this back down again. Tuesday, we've got the yen interest rates. So if we can get a little bit more selling action on this pound this afternoon in the US session based on those retail numbers, and we can get ourselves down here, Tuesday, we've got a good chance of getting a big drop on this. So, but equally, if the Japanese come out and go, actually, nah, we're going to keep interest rates as we've had them for the last 7 years, not going to change it, that's up there somewhere. So we need to wait until Tuesday to find out whether this is going to get a rally. But I'm just hoping that we can hold this and end up down here somewhere, because I don't want to get spread out. I don't want to get a break-even stop on a spread. So I want this an ADR away, ideally. Then they're highly unlikely to grab me. In fact, probably what I will do before I go to bed tonight is I will take that stop loss off at break-even and then check it again on Sunday night, because I just don't want to get taken out on an overnight swap. Pound New Zealand. So that's an ADR reversal today, obviously, to the upside. So there's your reversal alert at ADR. Pushed up. That's where you'd be looking, well, I mean, half an ADR really from the entry. So 69 pips, somewhere around about there for a target for half an ADR movement back up. And Pound New Zealand. That one's already played out, very much the same. We're just pulling back. So there's your reversal alert. There's your retest. There's your W. That was your entry, half an ADR. So you're looking at 65 pips again on the Pound New Zealand. So somewhere into here, into the middle of that move, basically. So those are your ADRs, all just 100% ADRs today. Nothing's got any further than that. Nothing's stretched any further. I'm quite surprised we didn't get any bigger moves off that pound. That pound drop was huge. 3.2% on a forecast of negative 0.5. That's a big miss for retail. Nearly 2% down on the forecast, or plus, but didn't get more than that, unfortunately. So there we go. So there's your ADRs. All the weeklies we've already looked at. RSI extensions, all the 4-hour RSI extensions are all, sorry, that's ADR again. I was going to say, I thought there were some more 4-hour RSI extensions than that. So your 4-hour RSI extensions, we did have a few more this morning, and they're all starting to peter out as these moves are starting to either flatten out or reverse. CAD Swiss is the only big extension we've got at the moment. First entry taken on that today, CAD Swiss. That's off the H1 M5 mean reversion. So there's your H1 RSI extension. Your 5-minute reversal alert was there. We've pushed up and invalidated since. So that was your reversal alert, that candlestick there off of that low. And then we basically pushed straight back up. Looked like we were pushing back down again, double topped. Now we've put in another one. So there's a second entry there if you didn't get the first one. And we are just sitting around. Lovely head and shoulders there, look. So as soon as we break that neckline, i.e. go below my entry, that's valid short. But it's valid short anyway. So that's nicely extended. Again, Swiss franc, massively weak at the moment. Waiting for some of that US dollar weakness to help the CAD down. And hopefully then we get some movement on the Swissy. So at the moment, I'm just going to target these highs and just watch price action and see where we get to. It's that area there. We've also got Aussie dollar Swiss extended, Michigan in 10 minutes. That's an H1 M5 mean reversion entry. It's also an ADR reversal. Again, looked at that one already, haven't we? And Euro Swiss. That one's extended. I'm in 2 on that one now. from the entry on Wednesday. Basically, we just accumulated and we've had this grind up so far. So second entry taken today up here. Need to adjust targets on this. Still going for that propulsion. Downside. So looking for this entire move to have a bit of a pullback, or at least that move. Yeah, so that should be achievable. If not, back down to test this area later next week at some point. So there's the CAD Swiss is still a 4-hour RSI extension, very extended, no real rest on this at all. So you're up at the 80 level now, very, very big extension. That's the last time we got an 80. Actually, not even an 80, that was a 70. And we pushed back. So we're looking for possibly a test of the 72. Could go a little bit further. See what happens with Michigan this afternoon. If we get positive numbers on Michigan, that's going to rally the CAD in the US. So if we can get up to there, that'd be even more extended and you'll get a much bigger spring back on it. But so that is massively extended. All these other RSI extensions we've already looked at this week. The Euro Swiss is still extended above the 70 or 75, almost 80 level. So again, this whole move here for the entire week, we've had a bit of a flag in the middle of it, but other than that, we haven't stopped all week. They are long as you like on this. It's just going to take one small news event or announcement for that to pop. Or any kind of conflict to break out. The Swiss franc powers up. You'll be back down here in absolutely no time at all. So those are the RSI extensions on the 4-hour. Oh, yes. And sorry, US dollar Swiss as well. So I'm just watching something over there. With so yeah, US dollar Swiss as well. Big extension all week. Haven't stopped. This Swiss franc has just fallen out of bed completely. It's just dead. So I'm very surprised it's managed to last this long. But it does this, and then all of a sudden the US dollar, the Swiss franc will just go, nah, and you'll get a 200 ADR day. It'll just power up for, well, not for no reason, because they put all the money in the Swiss franc as a safe haven. So we need some bad news somewhere, and that will just collapse. Or we need bad numbers on Michigan. So in 7 minutes, we'll find out. TP hit on the Dow. Break even second half above propulsion. So TP1 hit there. Gives me back a little bit of my money from this morning. Excuse me. Nice big 3-bar reversal going in there though, so we'll see. Haven't managed to get target yet, not even 1R on the S&P. And the Dow, the NASDAQ, complete unbelievable, no idea. This is doing exactly the same as the DAX did this morning, so that's going nowhere. So Dow at the moment, only thing working, but that seems to be pulling back now. So putting back into the news, I'd suspect. So when that news hits, we'll probably get a bit of violence off of this. 7 minutes to go. Right, those are your H4s. There are a couple of others, mainly Aussie based, but we've looked at all of these because they were extensions. We looked at some of these this morning, and we looked at them yesterday. So those are all kind of starting to play out. Aussie yen's a new one actually for this week, but it's coming up to a double top. So it's not actually a bad level to take a short from there, but don't get too excited on the way down. This is a wedge pattern, which is bullish. So I think you're probably going to come up and test these monthly levels up in 125 to 200 ADR. So this could well just flag and pop. Not a very big extension. Not very fast either. It's only the last sort of day. We've had that move. And everything else is just yen. Swiss. We've already looked at. Aussie dollar Swiss ADR. I did not get that trade with exact same settings. Aussie dollar Swiss. So my first entry was on yesterday. So that was an ADR hit yesterday. The first reversal alert was in there yesterday on 5 minute. What's going on with this chart? June? 22nd of June? When? 2022. Massive data hole in there on the 5 minute chart for some reason. That is. But yeah, you can see where the first entry was. So we pushed up and pushed down. So that was that on the 5 minute time frame. That was your reversal alert yesterday. Second entry, third. I'm coming down now. Right. Come on, sellers. It's going to rally. Just keep this from hedging, please. Today, I could really do with a nice triple clean break to finish the week off. If you're into position and it goes against you after one ADR, go into a position, it goes against you after one ADR. When you want to enter again, you just look for reversal pattern or RSI needs to be extended. No. Once you're in a position, you're in a position. You don't wait for RSI to get extended again. It may never get extended. Yeah. Look at an RSI. Just about to stop out break even on that second DOW by the looks of things. You look at an RSI. So let's say, for example, try and find one. Yeah. So let's say, for example, you took that RSI extension there, and for some reason you didn't get out, whatever reason that may be. The RSI did not get extended again until there. Yeah. So you can't get in and then wait for RSI to get extended. It may never get extended again. If this thing had not come down so fast and hard here, and it came down all nice and orderly like that, this may never have actually got below there. So once you're in, that's why the EA has that setting in it to ignore RSI after first entry. So if you're using, I don't know if you're doing it manually, obviously that's probably why the question. If you're using the EA does this automatically for you. But if you're doing it manually, yeah, once you're long, if the market goes against you, you're long. You can't just sit there and go, I'll wait for another signal. It might be a month before another signal comes in. You have to use scaling to that position. Market reversal alerts EA in here has the ignore RSI after first trade. That's always set to true. So it takes the first entry, yeah, when the RSI is extended on the hourly in this case, and then 5 minute reversal alert, and then ignore RSI after the first trade. So the second trade would move down 3/4 of an ADR or an ADR or however much. When you get the next reversal alert, you get in. RSI is not used. The RSI is your initial reason to get in. The reason we use the RSI to get in is because the market is stretched. The RSI is a measure of relative strength. That was stretched for 2 days solid, yeah, with no pullback. Yeah, so we got the pullback. Yeah, when the market is stretched, it pulls back. Stretched, pulls back. Stretched, pulls back. Sell, profit take. Buy, profit take. Yeah, this is what this is telling you. But if it's buy, accumulation, again, buy, you've got to scale in here, but you're not necessarily going to get an alert on RSI, that is. This is why you use a signal indicator. This is a condition indicator. This is the market reversal alerts is a signal indicator. signal is control being taken over by the opposite party. The condition is the market is stretched. News in 1 minute. Don't stop me out, Dow. Out the Dow. Trying to see if I can tell what the news is before I look at it. I would say the numbers are slightly down. They're up. They're up substantially as well, actually. Let's have a look at the US. Not really doing a lot, is it? Quick gap up, big buy order came in, undone. This looks like it's going short. So long US dollar, basically. Which would indicate indices going short, which is annoying because I'm hedged now on the NASDAQ. But we'll see. Still got the S&P short. Turning into one of those days today. Mesh 24, nice reversal from the long wick. Mesh 24, it's positive. Day long. What? Mesh, they make computers. Finally, ready 2 minutes before the Michigan party. See where we go. Market doesn't really have a direction at the moment. So nothing much off the Michigan numbers. If anything, it looks like a little bit of weakness in the US, but God, look at that spread. Bloody hell. 5.5 pip spread. Brokers cashing in big style. If you're in that, you're dead. Or the 1 minute traders. Death. So in theory, we should get strength off those numbers. Michigan's always a funny one. It's a poll of 500 people as to what they think the economic outlook is. And I never understand why it's red news and why the banks pay attention to it, but they do. So interesting. Sometimes it pops, sometimes it doesn't. It's a really weird news event. Mesh 24, micro, E-mini, S&P 500. We don't trade futures in here. Shanta, you're in the wrong room. So if we get that bull move on the US, i.e. Euro US down, we'll get a pop. The downside on the indices, which would be nice. See where we go. An indicator is often just an indicator because it's being watched, hence the Michigan numbers. That's cryptic. The Michigan numbers are just a weird thing. They really are like a lottery. Sometimes you get a massive move off of Michigan with very little. I think the market just uses it because they know people are going to be trading it because it's red news. They know there's going to be liquidity there from all parties. I think they just use it to their advantage to just get orders dumped. But there's absolutely no reason why 500 consumers who are asked about what they think about the economics of America is going to have any impact whatsoever on what the Fed do with anything. I've never understood why it's even read. It should be just, it's like, what do you think about the economy? Wow, everything's getting more expensive. Yeah, let's put interest rates up. It's not going to happen, is it? I just don't get it. I've never have. It's one of those weird ones, but it does move the market. Tadu, Michigan consumer sentiment has a strong correlation on predicting economic expansions and contractions, is it? Never looked at correlation on that with anything, to be honest. So Dixie's still staying in a range. Yeah. We haven't gone anywhere. So US is strengthening by the looks of things. So Shanta, I'd get out of that long if I were you, mate. If you're still here. Such an annoying hedge on the NASDAQ. I'm considering closing the NASDAQ longs and just trying to get a run on the shorts. I'm a little bit greedy from this morning, basically. So I'm trying to preempt this short move. I want to see the Dow and the S&P kind of run, though. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave that in. I'm not going to touch that. I think there's a good argument for getting out that long and just letting that run, but it's a $150 hedge. I've banked 130. If I can get a run on the S&P and bank $300 or $400 on that, I will try and get out the NASDAQ hedge on a drop rather than try and assume that that is going down. Assume makes an arse of you and me, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to see if I can get the S&P target hit. If that Michigan number runs the US, we got a chance of getting this propulsion gap filled this afternoon, which would be a nice little profit back down to ADR. So I'm going to see if I can run that short. We'll see what happens. I think Michigan is just early happy hour. Yeah, I do as well. Quick, dump all the orders. Pub. That's what they're doing in America. That's my plan. Close the NAS longs. Yeah. What I'm worried about is Friday afternoon. Friday afternoon is notorious for high volume or that. And if you're going to do that, you'll have an out on it, but it won't make any money. So it's not actually that dangerous. But if you do get one of those dump afternoons where we get a massive move and it bounces off of the lows, i.e. this is market structure breaking long, which it could be. We haven't confirmed, we haven't broken that short yet. Look. You know, this could run. Which is why I was kind of waiting to see if one of these guys legged it, but they haven't yet. So US dollar is still rallying a little. And US coming down. Aussie US coming down. Not good for me because I'm US dollar short on all accounts, I think. Yeah. I've got one US long on with the pound US short. See if we can get run down to ADR. Stalled out again. Not sure about shutting those NAS longs, JC. Not just yet. We were at the back of a 2-day rally. Look, well, it's kind of half a day this morning. So basically, it's 2 days worth of solid movement up there. That session the entire day and this morning in Globex. So it really does shout, we need a short, doesn't it? At least some kind of corrective pullback, but could turn into one of those. We've got no resistance coming up on the NASDAQ. We're out these highs now, look out the monthly highs. We got to there yesterday. This morning we just blew through that monthly high today. So we closed at it yesterday. And it just literally this morning, they just popped it. So this is probability of retesting that level. But no. Struggling to go short. No. See if mid-open on the NAS holds. Brian and his mid-open. So the mid-open, is that... What's the mid-open? I'm just trying to think. Middle of the open? Is it that? That's the open. Well, is it open 5 minutes or the opening 15 minutes? In which case, about that. VWAP is very popular in futures, and that tracks from the open. Mid 5 minute open, yeah. We're basically sitting pretty much there, aren't we? We're just above it at the moment. Dow's coming down. S&P's rejecting push up by the looks of things at the moment. The NASDAQ's not, though. Does feel heavy. Feels like it wants to pop down. Just confirming SIH EA works fine. I closed NASDAQ hedge short in profit on demo and EA put on the long order. Yeah. Just in case I'm not the only one who was nervous about the EA not working. Yeah. So, yeah, basically, if you close it in profit, it will place the pendings. If you close it in a loss, it won't because it's got nothing to recoup. Mid-open is the midnight open. No, mid-open is the middle of the first 5-minute candle, according to Brian. I don't know. I don't trade that at all. So you're asking the wrong person. Could be the midnight open. That would be the globe. That's what they would call the Globex open, which is so the Globex is the electronic CME exchange. That's all the electronic trading that happens overnight. The bit that kills most people. My SIH works perfectly since on MT4. Everything works perfectly on MT4. MT5 is just all over the place at the moment. I don't know what they've done to MT5, but they've broken it. I was chatting to somebody in a, well, it's not chatting really, just typing with them in a forum, because I was asking a question about MT5 to another MT5 coder, and he said he's pretty much not given up, but he's given up coding for MT5 because every time he builds something, they change something and it breaks something, and then he rebuilds it in a way that means it won't be affected by that bug. They update that bug. They introduce a different bug because the bug they fixed, they had to change something else to fix that bug, which causes a bug, which means you've got to recode everything. And he's basically just given up. And I was like, I feel your pain. I'm exactly the same at the moment. I really can't be asked. Use MT4. It works. Has worked for 15 years. MT5 was released 10 years ago. It's never worked. It doesn't work today. If you can't fix something in a decade, chuck it. God's sake. Broke. Don't use it. MT4 all the way. Or use it, but don't expect it to do what you want it to do. Also, in regard to the trade copier, their support told me better not use MT5. I am not wondering anymore. So there you go. It's not just me. Their support is telling you not to use MT5 as well. They're in the same boat. Anybody that develops or codes, right, you're reliant on the platform, the framework, doing what it should do. You can only code certain things and then look at it and go, well, it doesn't work. There is no logical reason for it not to work. There is no error reporting has got any use whatsoever to help me understand why it's not working. Therefore, I don't know. Talk to the software vendor. The software vendor goes, talk to the person that coded the program. And then everybody's stuck in the middle going, he thinks that's broken. They think that's broken. But when you get so many people in the same industry saying the same thing over and over again, you just have to look at it and go, well, the majority's got to be right. And it's programmers moaning about MT5. Go and look at any MT5 forum. We've been doing it for 10 years. And we will keep doing it until they fix it. But they won't fix it, will they? Because it's not their main platform. 90% of their product sales and everything goes for MT4, which kind of tells you something, doesn't it? Look, it's holding for longs. One of those days. Yeah, at the moment it is. It's not going anywhere at the moment at all. There is no bias in any shape or form. New Zealand dollar, CAD, and the US dollar Swiss. Sorry, that was earlier, that one. So New Zealand dollar CAD has just hit weekly range. 125 of its weekly range. So we are still pushing a little bit, but we're sort of bouncing. Again, nothing. Michigan done nothing. Tough week this week. Very, very tough week. 2.3%, but it's not a lot at all. Right. Anybody got any other FX pairs or anything they want to have a look at? I don't think it's Friday afternoon. Looking at the price action so far today, as you can see, not overwhelmingly positive, is it? We haven't gone anywhere all day today. It's Friday afternoon, notoriously quiet afternoon usually. So I'm not actually anticipating a huge amount of movement. So with these indices, the hedge on the NASDAQ, I'm just going to let run out today. Downside target. I'm going to have to do, the way the price action is going, I'm going to drop it down to yesterday's high, which is today's open, which is the monthly bounce point. So we've broken out that high. I'm expecting some limit orders to trigger. Everybody that's bought the breakout will be trying to add to the breakout. We should at least get a bounce. So if we can get down to there, exit that. Upside, sky's the limit. We're out into new territory, aren't we? So I'm just going to go with ADR to the upside, see if we can get a push up to ADR. But there is no resistance to the upside because we're at new highs. So NASDAQ just basically see if we can get a run up if it wants to go. S&P short only at the moment. Downside target. I mean, TP2 is above that previous day high, which is top of that propulsion gap. It's $200, 330. I'm going to put both TPs there. If we can get a clean break to the downside, I'll take the whole lot off there. I'm not anticipating a runner today. So I'll get out the whole lot at what should be just about 2.5R. Yeah, 2.5R to the downside. If it hedges, I mean, we're at highs again, aren't we? So it's going to be an ADR hit. Just looking for an ADR hit. By the time we get up to there, even if it pushes further, it's going to get exhausted. We'll get that pullback before close. But, it's another dud, isn't it? This is the third or fourth time this week we've just had this chop sideways. Absolute no movement at the open. They've pulled the plug at the open. We've just lost all momentum at the open at the minute. Next week, you'll have to remind me on Monday if I haven't pulled it up. But next week is the earnings fortnight. Why can't I click the right link? Earnings fortnight kicks off on Tuesday. So starting off with 3M, General Electric, Procter, Verizon, Johnson on pre-market on Tuesday. And then after market, we start with Netflix. Then we go into IBM, etc., Tesla, Then that week is the bulk. So January the 30th is when we kick off with the bulk of the earnings. So this is earnings up to December. So it's the final quarter of last year's earnings, which is why it's reported on the 30th of January. It's reported 30 days after the quarter end. And this is what our moving averages on the chart are, the monthly and quarterly moving averages, which fall in line with reporting periods. So that's where it really kicks off. 30th of January, everybody and their partner is reporting. So big weeks coming up, starting next week. But yeah, we call it earnings fortnight. It's really a month, but there's 2 solid weeks in the middle of it where we have got big numbers coming through. So hopefully we'll start getting some of that volume coming back in. US dollar's rallying, so the good chance we're going to drop. So we have got that US dollar move starting. Trying to. Just feels like a spluttering car at the moment, but it's trying. That might actually be pound weakness on that pound US. No, it's not. It's nothing, is it? No, it's just dead. Nothing we can do today. Euro New Zealand. We can look at Euro New Zealand. It's pushing up nicely at the moment. So it's just stuck. This is a prime example of one of those push stop pairs. We just haven't had an RSI extension all month. No movement on it. So we've come out of this big accumulation. We contracted into a smaller accumulation at the beginning of this year. So that was basically Christmas, New Year, beginning of the year, and now we've taken off. So Euro's rallied off the back of Lagarde, but not massively, is it? So it's not got any real strength of movement at the moment. It's probably heading up to this. Well, there's a number of areas here, isn't there? But it's probably heading up to this area here, somewhere around about the 200 ADR. We've got this area here, which is pretty actual close to today, isn't it? Yeah. So we got a gap here. Look, that's the gap, which is Christmas to the open after Christmas. So that's the gap that was formed between Christmas and the, after Boxing Day area. So there's a potential for a bounce out of there, which is that resistance. Failing that, you'd be coming up to 175 ADR. So probably get a pullback on that leg from this level. And then obviously do what it likes, but all depends on news. And we're just waiting for everything at the minute. Difficult one to call. Literally, the Dixie is sitting at 103,476, not moving at all. They're at the pub. Yeah. You can tell by the spread as well. Look how big the spread is on the Euro US. It's they're not interested today, are they? I'll give it until 1.5 hours in. I'll give it until 4 o'clock. If we haven't gone anywhere by 4 o'clock, I will call it a day, I think. And just if this is sort of down here somewhere, I'll just shut that because that and that will pay for that. And I've taken a loss this morning on the European market. So this would just be a break even today. If it does get going, though, and we can get down to target, happy days. It's been a nice, profitable afternoon, but doesn't pay for the morning, unfortunately. Having massive problems with the European market so far this year. Can't get any movement out of it strong enough. But partly because I'm trading the FTSE. But saying that, the FTSE's actually not done bad for me. It's been the DAX that's been the pain in the backside this year. Came out break even for the week. You're not a losing trader. That's a result. Went to shark infested water and came out with everything intact. It's a win. It is a win. The first step to becoming a profitable trader is becoming a break-even trader. If you can become a break-even trader, that means you've eliminated your losses. If you eliminated your losses, all you've got to do is work on a little bit more of those losses and they will turn into profit. When you're looking for good trading laptop, what's most important, RAM or the SSD? I don't know. I personally wouldn't look for a trading laptop. Mind you, it doesn't really matter too much because all laptops are pretty much as powerful as desktops these days. But you just need as much power as you can. SSD is going to MT4 basically stores tick data as files, so it's constantly accessing and writing. If you look at your what's it called? The Control-Alt-Delete Task Manager. If you look at Task Manager, you'll see there's an awful lot of disk activity for MT4. It's constantly writing. It's writing logs all the time. It's writing data all the time. So an SSD is obviously going to help a lot with that. As much RAM as you can get. Processor's irrelevant because it only uses one CPU core anyway. So if you want multiple MT4s running, more CPU is good because obviously you've got more cause. But at the end of the day, it doesn't make an awful lot of difference, to be honest. With anything computing, get the most powerful thing you can get. GPU is not important. GPU is important because it runs Windows, runs the visual interface, but MT4 doesn't really use it. Like to see them run for something into the London close. Yeah, so would I. I'd like to see them run south. Would be nice. The RAM is used by the CPU for computing. The disk is for storage, yeah. Virginia, you're talking to somebody who did a computer science degree. I know what things are used for. I have built many computers over my time. And do you know what? The machine I've got sitting over here has exactly the same components in it as the machine I built 20 years ago. It's got motherboard, it's got CPU, it's got RAM, it's got a hard drive. It's got a graphics card. Those components we were being taught about in the 1990s. Nothing's changed. Computing hasn't changed at all. Everything's water cooled now, and a lot more efficient, obviously, but and a lot smaller, but still the same components. Motherboards are motherboards, except now we're on SSDs instead of floppies. Good old 5 1/4 floppies. Oh, dear. I'm back now. Right. So nothing much I can really talk about this anymore, is there? It ain't going anywhere. It's not able to break long. It's not able to break short. Hopefully we get some sellers coming through and we just basically pull back on this long into the weekend. And yeah, happy days. Looks like it wants to go short at the moment, which is good. US dollar's rallying. So yeah, makes sense. So I'm just going to manage these this afternoon. If I have to take 2 hedges on this, this will become a $100 loss day, which isn't the end of the world. But yeah, it's stuck in it. So we'll come back Monday and see how we get on. So yeah, just taking the drawdown into the weekend. I don't think there's much really I'm going to get closed out today. There's nothing else really coming into fruition that's bankable on any of the strategies. There's nothing worrying there. Why is that pound New Zealand in so much drawdown with 2 positions? Oh, it's H1, isn't it? I was going to say. Yeah, okay. Not having traded, this is the first year I've traded this strategy live. Normally it's been running on the year and I've never looked at it, watched it. And I'm like, why have we got into our second short 2.5 IDR apart? Because it works on hourly reverse alerts, isn't it? This is long-term strategy. So I'm like, why is that in so much drawdown? Now I know. That's interesting. That answers the question as to why this gets into so much drawdown, because it's not scaling in efficiently, is it? It's scaling in on reverse alerts. If you don't get a reverse alert for 3 weeks, you're not getting in again. And if you don't get the hedge, because we haven't had a reversal alert long, you don't get the hedge on, do you? Yeah. I mean, it's profitable. We know it's profitable. It did 140% in 9 months, didn't it? But I've never actually watched it, so live. So that's interesting. See, I wouldn't have done that. I'd have had another position in there. Anyway, we'll find out what happens with that one. Well, shillings around when I was a kid? No, I'm not that old, AZ. No. I remember 1p's and 2p's. And half P's. I remember half P's. Yeah. When I was a kid, we had half P coins. What on earth would you price at half a pence these days? But yeah, half P's I remember. I've always been decimalized. My first computer, 110 megabyte hard drive, 2 megabyte RAM, 100 megahertz CPU. That's a beast. 100 megabyte hard drive. I've got PDFs on my desktop bigger than that. It's crazy, isn't it? Computing architecture hasn't changed, but the number of transistors on the chip. Yeah. That's the thing, isn't it? Layering stuff. Instead of chips going up like that, you can layer chips. It's just infinite now, isn't it? And farthings, yeah. No, I haven't had farthings. Penny farthings? No, not even those. There was a bloke on the seafront where I used to live who used to ride a penny farthing up and down the seafront at the weekends. It was fascinating. Never understood how he got on and off the thing. What'd you do at traffic lights? They didn't have traffic lights on penny farthing days, did they? You ride that thing nowadays. What do you do at traffic lights? Nothing you can do, is it? You can fall off. What could you buy for half P? Sweets. Sweets were half a P, or it was 5 for half a P. So you get like little sweets and you get 10 for a penny. So I don't want 5, it's half a P. I don't think there's anything else you could buy for half a P. There he is. Look, the little half-pence coin. You can buy one on eBay for $6.99. You can buy a half P coin for $6.99. It's not even legal tender anymore, but you can get it for 7,000% of its value. Brilliant. Half a penny. 1971, 2 years before I was born. There you go. Used to be able to buy sweets with them. I had a pot like that. Look. Big bag of half P coins. Look. There you go. That bloke's selling one half P for $6.99. I could get a bag of them for $3.49. Bulk, choose your amount. 50 half Ps for $3.49. 500 half Ps for £19.24. 10 available, 9 sold. I want to meet the man that bought that. You can imagine the type of man that is. He is very geeky, he collects stamps, and he goes and watches planes at the airport at weekends. On the way to the airport, he gets the train, and he sits on top of the bridge or the station for 2 hours before the train arrives, collecting train numbers as well. That's the man that buys those. Not interested in having a drink with him down the pub. AZ's on a roll today. Didn't quite get the discovery you've made on H1 hedging. So basically the distance between trades, yeah, I scale in at 3/4 of an ADR apart, ADR roughly, when I'm getting into positions. This is scaled in. Well, half an ADR is 65. This is 327. 130 is an ADR. So this is almost 3 ADR before it's taken its second short, because that's the first time we've had the sellers take back control. Since that initial reversal alert, that's the first reversal alert we've had on the hourly chart. It's because obviously normally I'm used to trading H1 M5. So on M5, you've had reverse alerts in here. But obviously we don't do that on this. So the average is still the average on the first positions is 175 ADR away. But this will have been happening obviously all last year with the EA is doing exactly the same thing. So yeah, it's just the way it works. No. But there's no hedge trade on this one. So the first trade, if the first trade doesn't get hedged, I can't make any profit on the long. In which case I would use some of that profit to reduce that first short, which you don't get, do you? Just haven't watched it live before. It's just like, how the hell have you got two? Like, Normally, if I'm in 1.6% drawdown, I'd have 2 to 3 positions on at least, and we've had a really good strong push. To have one position on and one that's just been taken to be sitting in that is astronomical. But that's why this thing sits at 15 to 30% of drawdown constantly, because it's just playing much longer sweeps and swings, isn't it? It's just not really watched it before, so learning curve. $1,200 baud rate modem. Yeah, God, I remember that. 48K modems. Dial up to AOL. Discovering chat rooms on AOL when you're 16 years old. I can chat to girls online. Those are the days. I even had a switch for a 33 and a 66 megahertz. Yeah, I remember that. On a 286 processor. Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it? We had a guy in New Forest. Do you mean New Forest? Rides a penny farthing, looks dangerous. Yeah. Absolutely. Problem with that H1 hedging issue is that you tried to solve that you can't help but run into grid trading. No, this doesn't grid trade at all. This trades reversals only. Doing exactly what it should be doing. It's trading when the sellers enter the market. The sellers didn't enter the market. Sellers entered the market there. They haven't entered the market until there. Exactly right. You don't want to be shorting it while the buyers are in charge. It's doing exactly what it says on the tin. Should be doing it. And they will pull back into that propulsion or that propulsion. What PC had a 3-inch drive, not a 3.5-inch? Amstrad? BBC Micro? I don't know. Olivetti? Dragon? Amstrad? I know my stuff. I didn't. I guessed at all the old PCs then, so basically it was actually a guess. But I got Amstrad first. I think. You can put in a function where if it goes to ADR way, you double the lot size. That's martingale. No, do not do that. Geez, I painted my office and it's already dry. Price is still crap. Look at the S&P, look. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. 1 hour. You're better off watching paint dry today. Much more interesting. Went back to using an abacus. Yeah, they're not even using an abacus. This is the algorithms. And this is one of the algorithms in Barclays going, hello? Anybody there? HSBC are like down the pub. Citibank are at the other pub. Barclays are like, I've got an order. Anybody got another order to go the other way? No? What about now? What about now? No? Oh, wait. That's basically what they're doing. The algorithms are falling asleep, trying to talk to each other. I love my Sinclair Spectrum saving to cassette tape, yeah. And then the tape would get chewed up, and you'd be like, I got the magazine at the weekend. I used to go to the shop, get the magazine, right? Undo the magazine, had all the code written in BASIC, sit there, typing the code out in BASIC. Can't save. There is no saving. There's no drives saving. So you're just typing it into the RAM or the EEPROM, and then you save it. And it goes, on the tape deck, you have to go record and play. Spent all morning typing that just to get a man that would jump over something. God, we had no internet. That was fun. I remember the first time I played Elite which was the first kind of proper polygon game, blew me away. I'm in space in a like Tron-like grid wire thing. But my God, the bloke that coded that, imagine the amount of code that went into that thing. I'm still also done with prop now. They force you to not trade into news. Yep. Well, some of them do, some of them don't. But what should you do when a hedge triggers at news? I think you can do. Yeah, you can't do much. Props so restrictive. So I guess the solution is just to take it on the chin if your entries end up too far apart. Yeah. You're trading a bigger time frame. On H1, you're trading a much bigger time frame. This strategy is trading. What you should be doing is you should be looking at the chart like that. Yeah, you're playing this swing. So you don't want to get in like that on this swing. Yeah, you're playing that reversal alert to that reversal alert. Look. Buyer stepped in there. Sellers are stepping back in there. They stepped in and tried there. There's only 2 times we've changed direction on this. That one failed. That one hasn't yet. Well, it has, kind of. But, you know, it's just, that's what we're up against, basically. Totally different. I was going to say that hadn't updated. Yeah, totally different strategy, much longer term. Would never load again. Took 33 attempts. Yeah, that's the other thing. You save your thing to the tape, and then you stick the tape in. It don't work. You're like, I'm sure I saved it. You've got no way of knowing because you can't look at it because it's not a physical thing, is it? It's just weird. They were fun days, but yeah, I wouldn't go back to that. That life was not as much fun. Tiny Computers were a big UK company maker back then. Yeah, Tiny Computers. My mum has still got an email address at tinyworld.com. She bought a computer that long ago. Her email address is at tinyworld. Every time I hear that docking music, yeah. I'm going to get done for a copyright hit here. Awesome. Elite. State of the art, this. Used to sit here watching these pixels fly. What is going on with connection? Fly towards you. Look at that. Docking computers on. That, believe it or not, is a space station. He's got some other ships around. He needs to be aware of those. Might get shot on the way to the station. Anyway. Tell the markets are dead, can't you? How about the Aculab floppy tape? That's a new one. Aculab floppy tape. What's that? Advanced until the head wore out and the tape stretched. What about that? Everything I used to do was on what's that company called that does tapes? BFFSM? I can't remember what they're called. But very important. The quality of your tape, very important. Your life on that tape. And it dies as well. That tape doesn't last, does it? Tape's run out. Only one lonely algo wants to hang out with. They beat feet and didn't tell him. I know. See, Sparkly's, look, he's still flip-flopping around going, anybody got an order? I want to go long. No, we're not there. Following the above, would the MRA EA hedging on M5 be better in terms of drawdown? Yep. Test it. There is no right and wrong. There's different. But yeah, it's different. The H1 hedging strategy is different to the M5 one. The M5 one relies. The M5 strategy is the same as H1 M5. You're waiting for an RSI extension before you get into your first trade. Not a lot, really. All hedging is much more risky with FX on higher time frames. Add FIFO rule and it becomes a bigger challenge. Yeah, managing drawdown, definitely. Manually trading the FTSE 5-minute market reversal alerts today picked up the top and the bottom beautifully. Good job. I haven't got the FTSE open, but yeah, reversal alerts will work very well when the market's doing this sort of movement. Not going anywhere, is it? BASF, that's it, Martin. Less hiss. Yeah. Higher quality BASF. They were more expensive as well, the BASF tapes. You used to buy a pack of 5 or a pack of 10 of the BASF ones. It was like, yeah, they're expensive. But, you know, you feel the quality. Metal screws, not plastic. All sorts of good stuff. God, we're old. Brokers must have just said, screw it. Both MT4 terms and Ninja just went down for me. Oh, did they? Yeah, my terminal's all disconnected then. There's no liquidity. They've just gone, there's no liquidity, so we might as well disconnect you. Oh, no, it's back again. Somebody put a tick in the market. Dead, isn't it? 1 minute scalping, 1 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. Oh, right, you're on 1 minute charts. Yeah, I mean, 1 minute charts is just chop, but at the end of the day, you're going to get signals on every time frame. Some days it'll work, some days it won't. Why do you consider H1M5 as bread and butter? Just because that's what I've always done, is multi-time frame analysis and multi-time frame trading. Is there an advantage compared to H1 hedge and ADR reversal? Not really, no. I just prefer trading extremes. I've been through this a number of times. H1 RSI extensions mean that the market has been very, very strong and moved very strong, usually for more than a day. An ADR hit like that, quite often you won't get an RSI extension because all it is just a little push. It's a push down, isn't it? This is an ADR hit to the downside, not the upside today. Yeah. So this is a perfect example. That is an ADR hit to the downside. RSI is at 50. Yeah. So if you're going long here, right, this thing could go that for an entire week. And then I will go long down here because this has moved. Right now, this is potentially just pullback leg on a long. Or it is this RSI extension mean reverting back down to here. But the RSI extension means multiple moves have usually had to have happened to get you extended there. It's the relative strength of these two instruments is very, very strong or very, very weak. ADR means today it's gone beyond its normal range. Doesn't mean there's been a strong move that the banks are going to correct on. Means there's been an intraday move. It's a smaller time frame. For scalpers, M1, if you were trading M1 ADR reversals, you probably get quite a good result waiting on M1 time frame. I've never tested it because I don't trade M1, but right, I'm going to leave it there today because nothing's happening. So I don't think I'm going to get out of any of this. Well, that aggressive drawdown is doing well. Oh, it's on pound yen. This is what we're looking at. So yeah, so nice profit on that one at the moment. I'm not going to close it out yet. I'm going to see if I can get this aggressive to work and this yen to power up, or this pound to have an end of day sell off. So I want to be down here somewhere. Ideally, I will remove that break even stop just in case they do stupid things with the yen on the swap on Sunday night. I don't want to get stopped out just for the sake of them deciding they want to spread it by half an ADR or something stupid. So nothing much else going to get banked today. So 0.3 on that, 1.1 there. Again, nothing really, nothing massively bad, and nothing really approaching profit. It's all just waiting, isn't it? And might get out of the pound CAD shorts on the hedge account. That TP I've got down at the origin of the move. That's in 0.14 at the moment, so we'll be somewhere around 0.3, 0.4. I've already banked 0.3 today, so that'll take me up to over 0.5% on the day, which will give me target for the week, 2.5%. We'll see. 2 amps. But yeah, I wouldn't hold up much hope for Friday afternoon. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Anything you need? Oh, I'm hedged on the S&P. There we go. So S&P targets, yesterday's low. Sorry, previous day's high, not yesterday's low. Top of that propulsion gap. To the downside, it's going to be a whitewash today, isn't it? I want to get them level. And upside, because it's new highs, I'll just go with an ADR, see if we can get a rally. But you know, this isn't looking like it's going to do anything, is it? So hedged on those two. So one pays. So Dow pays for the S&P, 150 down on the NAS. Good end to the month, week rather. Never mind. Giving London close into New York lunch a chance to redeem itself. Yeah, I'll be monitoring these, but I mean, look at that. It's just pulling away from literally hedging me. Been one of those weeks. Reset Monday. This week's just been a pain in the backside. Right, have a good weekend. I'll be back on Monday, same time, 7:50 for Frankfurt, 2:20 for New York. Anything you need, let me know in Telegram. Other than that, I will be back Monday, and we'll see if we can get some movement. Bear in mind, Monday morning, we've got... oh, no, it's not. It's Tuesday. Sorry. Of course it is. Monday's dead. There is literally no news on Monday. Nothing. We're flat. Not even nothing. Literally nothing. I don't know if we can get many days where there's absolutely nothing, but that doesn't bode well for Monday, does it? But Tuesday is when we've got the yen. So that's happening overnight Tuesday. So that's the first biggie of the week. And it's all PMIs next week. PMI week. So production inflation figures. So got a good chance of getting some movement next week. Especially if that yen kicks off. If it kicks off, we're going to get stuff moving, which is lovely. It's what we want. Right, have a good weekend. Anything you need, let me know. Otherwise, I will be back on Monday. Have a good weekend.